Hello. In this video, I'm going to discuss the simplex method, another method that we can use to solving linear programming problems or LP problem. Let me first discuss the idea or the essence of simplex method. Um, the simplex method is an algebraic procedure, but its underlying concepts are geometric. And what we mean by that is um, the simplex method utilizes the uh, CPF solutions or the corner point feasible solutions obtained when the equations representing the functional constraints now are plotted in the Cartesian plane. So you see the corners there. We call them as CPF solution or corner point feasible solutions. Um, Now, because it focuses on CPF solution, we will be obtaining the optimal solution from those corner point feasible solutions. We'll find one that requires only finding a best CPF solution. The simplex method is an iterative algorithm, uh, meaning you repeat the same process or a fixed series of steps, which you call as an iteration, until you obtain the best solution. And the structure is illustrated here by the diagram. Um, you start from initialization. This is where you set up a table, which you call as the tableau or initial tableau. Okay. Then after that, in the initialization, you also find an initial CPF solution, which may or may not be the best feasible solution or BF solution. If if what you want to test, no, whether the initial CPF solution is optimal, then you use the optimality test. And later we will emphasize what we mean by when is a given CPF solution an optimal solution. Okay. Now, if the CPF solution is not optimal, um, you can repeat the iteration. But if it is an optimal solution, then you can stop. Okay. Uh, we summarize the method, no, as follows. So you begin with initialization. That means that you write the objective function as well as uh, the functional constraints into equation form by introducing either slack variables or surplus variables. Okay. You use slack variables um, for a maximization problem and surplus variables for a minimization problem. Okay. Then after that, you can convert each inequality, meaning your functional constraints, um, in the set of uh, constraints to an equation by adding these slack variables or surplus variables. And then you create the initial simplex tableau. In the initial simplex tableau, that's actually a table where you indicate the coefficients of your equations. Okay. and then your label for each column and row. Then after setting up the initial simplex tableau, you check whether the initial CPF solution is already optimal. Now, how do you check whether your CPF solution, or we call that the current BF or basic feasible solution, is optimal? You determine, or you check your initial simplex tableau, and if every coefficient in row 0, the row 0 corresponds to your objective function. What you see in the row 0 are the coefficients of your objective functions, okay? Objective function. So you check if every coefficient in row 0 is non-negative. If it is non-negative, then that means that the current basic feasible solution is already optimal. But if not all of the coefficients are negative, or if at least one of the coefficients is negative, you have to iterate. Go to an iteration to obtain the next BF solution. And how do you iterate? Step 1, you determine the entering basic variable by selecting the variable, automatically a non-basic variable. There are two types of variables here. The one variable is the non-basic variable, and the other one is the basic variable. Okay, so you determine the entering basic variable by selecting the variable with the most negative coefficient. You're looking into the 0th row, no, or the row corresponding to your objective function. So check or select the most negative coefficient, and the one with most negative coefficient will serve as your pivot column. So mark that or box around that column, and then in step number 2, you determine your leaving basic variable by applying the minimum ratio test. And by the way, the variable that corresponds to your pivot column will be your entering basic variable, or entering variable, or you call that entering non-basic variable. That's actually non-basic variable. And then you apply the minimum ratio test to determine your leaving basic variable. We call this entering and leaving basic variable because the basic variables are placed on the rows, while the non-basic variables, of course, together with some of the basic variables, are placed on the columns. Now, in the columns, you have the entering basic variable, and that corresponds to your pivot column. And your leaving basic variable will be replaced by the entering basic variable. So how to determine the leaving basic variable? You apply the minimum ratio test. We will illustrate how to do the minimum ratio test, okay, to determine the leaving basic variable. And then step number 3, you solve for the new BF solution by using elementary row operations. This is the idea we use in solving systems of equations in linear algebra. And then after doing that, you obtain a tableau, and then you check whether the basic feasible solution is already optimal. Again, how? By checking on the coefficient of the row 0. No? If every coefficient of the row 0 is non-negative, then it means that you have the optimal solution. Your basic feasible solution is the optimal solution. But if, again, there is a negative coefficient, then it means that you have to iterate. And then you do that repeatedly until such time when you obtain the final tableau. The final tableau is a table where every coefficient in row 0 is non-negative. And that implies that you already obtained the optimal solution for the LP problem. Now, let's illustrate that. We'll use this example, the LP model for the window glass company problem. So the objective function is given by, basically this is maximization problem. No? So maximize z equals 3x1 plus 5x sub 2. And then your functional constraints are x1 less than or equal to 4, 2x sub 2 less than or equal to 12, 3x1 plus 2x2 less than or equal to 18, and your non-negativity constraints. Both x1 and x2 are non-negative. So following the steps for the simplex method, you first set up the initial simplex tableau. No? And to do that, we will set up this table. Okay, so the labels are, first you have here the basic variable, then the non-basic variable are placed. The non-basic variable are actually the variables, decision variables you have in your objective function and functional constraints. So that's x1, x2. What about the basic variable? That refers to the slack variables or surplus variables. Here we have maximization problem. So we'll introduce slack variables to convert the inequality into equality, right? Okay. So let us set up the initial tableau. First thing you do is to introduce slack variables and write in the new form, no, your objective function. So you'll have z equals 3x1 plus 5x2, then plus we're planning to use slack variables to convert the functional constraints into equations. These are less than or equal to type. So to do that, we're going to add to the left-hand side variable. Now, there are 3 equations. That's why we will be needing 3 slack variables, no? Namely S1, S2, and S3. And we're going to include those slack variables here in our objective function. So as not to affect the original, the objective function, we'll just use the coefficient 0 for the first slack variable S1, then 0 second slack variable S2 plus 0 third slack variable S3. Okay? And since we're going to put that in the table, the coefficients of your objective function as well as the functional constraints, we will place all the terms here on the right-hand side to the left so that you get z minus 3x1 minus 5x2 minus 0s1 minus 0s2 minus 0s3 then equal to 0 because we have placed all the terms on the right-hand side to the left side. So I have 0 on the right side now. And then we will convert the first functional constraint in equation form by using or by adding slack variables. So this can be written as x1 plus s1 equals 4, right? Becomes an equation because x1 is less than or equal to 4. So by introducing s1, we will choose an s1 that makes this an equation, right? And the second functional constraint will be written as 2x2 plus another slack variable we call s2 equals 12. And then the third functional constraint, 3x1 plus 2x2 plus the third slack variable, s3 equals 18, right? And then, of course, your non-negativity constraints now includes the slack variable. So you have x1, x2, s1, s2, s3 to be greater than or equal to 0. So these are our non-negativity constraints. And then under the column Z, okay, labeled as Z, we will enter the coefficient of your Z in each of the equations, starting from the objective function to the functional constraints. Under EQ, this is the label for the equations, no? Our label for the equations. We have here, let's call this equation 0. Okay. Then equation 1, these are only labels. Okay. Equation 1, then equation 2, and equation 3. Okay. And under the label coefficient of, we're going to indicate the non-basic variable x1. So there are two non-basic variable plus the basic variables, the slack variables s1, s2, and s3. Okay. And under the basic variable, we enter s1, s2, and s3. And then on this side here, on the very first column, under iteration, you indicate how many iterations you have. Here we're starting yet, so this is the 0th iteration. Okay, it's a 0th iteration. We call this table as the initial simplex W. Okay, now let's indicate now the coefficient of the equations. So starting from the objective function, the coefficient of Z in our first equation, which is the objective function, is 1. And under x1, the coefficient of x1 is -3. Coefficient of x2 is -5. Coefficient of s1 is 0, 0 for s2, and 0 for s3. Second, or our first functional constraint or equation corresponding to the first functional constraint, the coefficient of Z is 0 because there is no Z variable there, right? And then coefficient of x1 is 1. Coefficient of x2 is 0. No x2 there. And then coefficient of S1 is 1. Coefficient of S2 is 0. Coefficient of S3 is 0. Then the second equation corresponding to the second functional constraint, the coefficient of z is 0. No z there. Then coefficient of x1 is 0. No x1. Coefficient of x2 is 2. Coefficient of S1 is 0. Coefficient of S2 is 1. Coefficient of S3 is 0. By the way, on the right side, we indicate the constant, no? Corresponding to the first equation, which is your objective function. The right side, on the right side, you have 0. Second equation, your first functional constraint, the coefficient, the constant is 4. And then second, you have 12, right? Then the third equation, again, this is 0 because there is no z here. Then the coefficient of x1 is 3. Coefficient of x2 is 2. S1 is 0. Coefficient of S2 is 0. And coefficient of S3 is 1. And then 18. Okay, so you have set up the initial simplex tableau. Okay. Now, what we will do now is, after setting up the initial tableau, you're going to check if the optimality test is already satisfied. Let me reiterate, no, the optimality test, as indicated a while ago. Optimality test says that the BF solution, the basic feasible solution, okay, the BF solution is optimal. By the way, which is the basic solution? The basic solution is refers to the numbers that you see here on the right side. Okay, particularly the value corresponding to x1 and x2, but we don't have the value yet for x1 and x2. And then the value for your objective function is yet 0. So it could not be your optimal solution, right? But according to optimality test, the BF solution is optimal if and only if the coefficients in row 0, see the row 0, okay, are non-negative. The row 0 is the also called as the Z0, no? The Z0, okay? So obviously the optimality test is not satisfied yet because we have -3 and -5 as coefficients in row 0. Now, after that, you determine now your pivot column. Okay, and after identifying the pivot column, you at the same time determine your entering basic variable. Now look at this. How to determine the pivot column. The pivot column is determined by the column that corresponds to the most negative coefficient here you have -5 in the zeroth column, no? In the zeroth row. So that means that your pivot column is, let's mark that, let's box that, is this column. Okay, this is your pivot column, right? And that would also mean that your entering basic variable is x sub 2. Okay? So this column is your pivot column. This is your pivot column. And x sub 2 here is your x sub 2 is your entering basic variable, right? Okay. After that, we're going to determine next the pivot row, because the pivot row will also determine the leaving basic variable, the variable that we will replace by the entering basic variable. And how to determine the pivot row? We determine the pivot row by uh, using the minimum ratio test. The minimum ratio test says that the minimum ratio test says that your BF solutions, this one here, the values directly under the column labeled right side, no? This one here. These are your BF solutions. BF solutions. So the minimum ratio test says that you can find your pivot row by dividing each BF solution by a value that corresponds to the pivot column. Okay, meaning this 4 here will be divided by 0. Look at your pivot column. Now, since 4 cannot be divided by 0, that's not allowed, then we'll just skip that and let's proceed to 12. No? So you have 12 divided by corresponding value in the pivot column is 2. So you have 12 divided by 2, which is equal to 6. Then you have 18 divided by the corresponding value in the pivot column is in the same row, no? In the same row is 2, so you get 9. Now, here, 6 is the minimum, right? 6 is the minimum. What is the implication of this? The row corresponding to the minimum value will become our pivot row. So let's box that row. It is this row, no? This is your pivot row, right? That's your pivot row. Okay? So after obtaining the pivot row, we can now identify what is our leaving basic variable. So the leaving basic variable is S sub 2. We say leaving basic variable, it means that you're going to replace that by the entering non-basic variable. So this is your leaving basic variable, okay? Since the initial simplex tableau is not yet the final tableau because it fails the optimality test, that means that we're going to iterate. But in our first iteration, you have to take note of the value this one, of the value that lies on the intersection of the pivot column and the pivot row, because that value will be very important. We call that the uh, pivot element. Okay, that's your pivot element. So the pivot element uh, is 2, okay? And we take note of that, right? Okay, so what do we do next? Since our initial simplex tableau fails the optimality test, then we're going to uh, do iteration to facilitate our discussion. So, and so that we can have a reference table to do iteration, we'll copy this one to the next slide. No, let's copy this to the next slide. Okay. Yeah, and then let's start with our iterations, right? Now, in the iteration, the very first step is to create the uh, or determine the new pivot row. Okay, remember your pivot row here is the row corresponding to the second equation, right? To the second equation. So we're going to construct we're going to create our new pivot row. The new pivot row is obtained by dividing each entry in the pivot row by the pivot element. Now, remember the pivot element. Your pivot element is the element corresponding to the value, no, which lies on the intersection of the pivot column and the pivot row, and that is equal to 2, okay? And see, before we do that, let's label again. So this is your S1. Now, S2 is going to be replaced now with X sub 2. So you have S1, and this is X sub 2, and this is S3 is still S sub 3, no? Okay. And this is iteration number 1, iteration 1, and then our label for the equation, we have 0, 1, 2, and 3. And then the coefficients, we don't enter the coefficients yet. What we will do is first to determine the new pivot row. How to determine that? Remember your pivot row is corresponds to the second equation. And how to determine the pivot row? This is the formula for the new pivot row. No? New pivot row. That's equal to the current pivot row, the current pivot row divided by the pivot element, right? Divided by the pivot element. Okay. And that corresponds to the second equation. So 0, this one does not change. No, you have 1, 0, 0, 0. Okay. And then your new pivot row will become 0. You have here 0 divided by pivot element, which is 2. So you get 0. Then 2, by the way, this is x1, x2, s1, s2, and s3. And then below x2, you divide that by 2. You have 1. Okay. And then S1, the 0 there, divided by 2 is still 0. 1 divided by 2 is 1/2. And then S3, 0 divided by 2 is 0. Then on the right side, you have 12 divided by 2, which is equal to 6. Okay, I'll mark this as our new pivot row. I think I'll use green. Green represents new. Okay, so I'll mark this. So this is your new pivot. The new pivot row. Okay, this is the new pivot row. Ayan. And then after that, we now determine the entries for the new rows. No, how to obtain the entries for the new rows? We're going to use the elementary row operations, and to guide us, this would be our formula for the new rows. It will be in the new rows, for example, corresponding to equation 0, take note the most negative value there is -5. Our objective is to make that equal to 0. Okay. So it can be done by subtracting the current value by uh, current value divide by its pivot column coefficient, no? Its pivot column coefficient. It's meaning that row, the pivot coefficient corresponding that row. Its pivot corresponding that column is its pivot column coefficient times the new pivot row coefficient. Okay, new pivot row coefficient. And so if we use that, the -5 will become 0. Okay, so our objective is to remove the negative value on the row 0. That's why we apply the elementary row operation. Okay, let's start with the first column, the first row. So here, corresponding to x1, you have -3. Maybe I'll write here. No? So -3, that's current value. Okay, in that row, no? Current value in that row minus its pivot column coefficient. The pivot column coefficient is -5. Okay? So minus -5 times the new pivot row coefficient. The new pivot row coefficient is 0, right? That's equal to 0. Yan. Corresponding that column where you have -3. Okay? And this is equal to -3. Okay, so indicate here -3. And then next, yung -5. -5 minus current value. So in that column, you have -5 as your pivot column coefficient times the new pivot row coefficient. So corresponding that -5, the new pivot row coefficient is 1. So that's times 1 equal to, this is -5 plus 5, so that's 0. Okay, so we have 0. And then next is 0. So you have 0 minus, you should apply that to all the entries, no, in that row. So you have 0 minus -5. -5 is the current value. I mean, 0 is the current value and -5 is your pivot column coefficient. Okay? Corresponding that column, pivot column. Okay, so -5 then times the new pivot row coefficient, which is equal to 0. So this is 0. Okay, so under S1 you have 0. Then under S2 you have 0. So you have 0 minus -5. Again, -5. That's your pivot column coefficient. Times your new pivot row coefficient, which is equal to 1/2, right? So 1/2 equal to 5/2. So you have here 5/2. And then under S3 you have 0. So you have 0 minus -5 again. That's the pivot column coefficient corresponding that row, no? -5 times the new pivot row coefficient is 0 under S3. Okay, so that's equal to 0. Okay, so you have 0. And what about the right side? You apply also the same formula. You have, originally you have 0, right? Then minus -5 times 6. Okay, on that new pivot row you have 6, and this is equal to 30. Okay, then you do the same for the rest of the rows. So that's for the first row. The second row corresponding to equation 1 row, we have 1. So 1 minus, okay, the current value in that row minus its pivot column coefficient. So its pivot column coefficient is now 0, right? Because we're talking about second row, and the coefficient corresponding to the pivot column is 0. So you have 0 times the new pivot row coefficient, which is equal to 0. So this is equal to 1. And then next is 0. So you have 0 minus the pivot column coefficient on that row is 0 times new pivot row coefficient is 1 equal to negative, that's equal to negative 1. Is that equal to negative 1? It's negative 1, right? We have 0 uh, minus 0 times 1. Oh, sorry. That's not negative 1. Rather, that's 0. 0 times 1 is, so that's equal to uh, 0. Okay, next, you have 1. So 1 minus 0 times corresponding pivot row coefficient. And the new pivot row coefficient is 0. So you have 0, right? Oh, no, not 0, but 1. 1. And then 0. So 0 minus 0 times 1 half. Okay? Times 1 half will give us 0. So this is 0. And then 0, 0 minus 0 times 0 equals 0. So this is 0. And then 4 minus 0 times 6, that's equal to 4. Okay? That's equal to 4. And then the last row, that will be 3 minus, 3 is the current value, no? Referring to the formula we have, minus its pivot column coefficient corresponding that row, the third row. The pivot column coefficient is 2. Okay? So you have 2 times the new pivot row coefficient is 0. Okay? Is 0. So this is equal to 3. And then 2 minus 2 times new pivot row coefficient is 1. So this is equal to 0, right? And then 0 minus 2 times new pivot row coefficient is 0 equal to 0. So this is 0. And then another 0 there. This one, there's 0 minus 2 times the new pivot row coefficient is 1 half. Is that correct? That's 1 half. Okay. So 1 half, and that's equal to negative 1. So this is negative 1. And then 0. No, 1. Next value there is 1. 1 minus 2 times the corresponding new pivot row coefficient is 0. So this is 0, right? No, this is equal to 1, not 0. 2 times 0 is 0, but you have 1 minus 0 is 1. So this is equal to 1. You have 1, okay? And then last, 18. So you have 18 minus 2 times new pivot row coefficient is 6. That's equal to 18 minus 12 will give us 6. So this is 6. Okay, so that's the simplex tableau in iteration 1. So what do we do next? Next thing you do is to determine your entering non-basic variable. I mean the pivot column, the new pivot column. And the new pivot column, or the pivot column corresponding to iteration 1, second simplex tableau, is determined by choosing the column with the most negative value. Okay? The column with the most negative value. And that would be the first column actually. This one. So this is your pivot column. Right? Pivot column. That means that your x sub 1 will now be your entering basic variable, right? So repeating the same process we did a while ago, okay? Now we will determine the living basic variable by identifying the pivot row for the first iteration, for the second simplex tableau. And how do we do that? We do that by using the minimum ratio test. Remember the minimum ratio test? You divide each value, yung BF solution, no? In the BF solution, you divide that by the entries, corresponding entries in the pivot column, right? So let's start with, do not include the coefficients in the 0th row, no? So we have a ratio of 4 and 1. So 4 divided by 1, that would be 4 divided by 1 is equal to 4. Okay. Then 6 divided by 0, you have 0. So that's not divisible. So just skip that and then proceed to 6 divided by 3. Okay, that's a corresponding entry in the pivot column. So 6 divided by 3 is equal to 2. Now, between the two values, this is the minimum. So according to the minimum ratio test, your pivot row is the last row. That's your pivot row. Okay. This is your pivot row, which means that, so this is your pivot row for iteration 1, and that makes your itong number 3 as your pivot element. That's your pivot element for iteration 1. Pivot element is equal to equal to 3. Okay. Do we have now the optimal solution? According to the optimality test, you have the optimal solution for that table if all of the entries in the zeroth column or the zeroth row, no? In row 0 are non-negative. But unfortunately, one of the entries there is still negative. So we don't have the optimality or optimal solution yet, meaning it fails the optimality test. So what do? We again uh, repeat the process. So we will move to the second iteration. Okay. And to do the second iteration, we will, let me copy this in the next slide. So we'll copy this in the next slide. Okay. Yan. So we'll repeat the process. This will be our second iteration. Uh, this is iteration number 2. Hopefully this is our last iteration. So we'll now indicate the new variables here. S1, this is still S1, and this is X2. By the way, we forgot to emphasize to indicate our living basic variable. This is your living basic variable. It corresponds to your pivot row. So this is your living basic variable. And this will be replaced by your entering basic variable, which is x sub 1. So this is the living basic variable. Living basic variable. And that means that instead of S3 here will be replaced by X. This will be replaced by X1 by the entering basic variable. And then we have equation 0, equation 1, equation 2, and equation 3. You have 1, 0, 0, 0. And then you have here X1, X2, S1, S2, and S3. Okay, what do we do next? We will again, whenever you start with uh, the iteration, first thing you do is after indicating the labels, no? First thing you do is to determine the new pivot row. Okay, so determine the new pivot row. And how do we obtain the new pivot row? We've indicated the formula a while ago, no? For the new pivot row, we say that the new pivot row is equal to the current pivot row divided by the pivot element. Okay. Now, what is our pivot element? Your pivot element is 3. That's the pivot element. That's equal to 3, right? Pivot element is that element which corresponds to the intersection of the pivot column and the pivot row. So create now your new pivot row. That means that the new pivot row is in the last column, last row. So each entry in the last row will be divided by the pivot element. Okay, 3. So you have 3 divided by 3 is 1, right? Then 0 divided by 3 is 0. 0 divided by 3 is 0. Then negative 1 divided by 3 is negative 1/3. And 1 divided by 3 is 1/3, right? And then 2 divided by 3 is, you don't need to, yeah, you don't need to divide that by the pivot element. And hopefully this will be our final tableau, right? Okay. So you have 1, 0, 0, negative 1/3, and 1/3. And then we now determine the entries of this final, hopefully this is final table. We'll check using the optimality test if this is our final table. Okay. So let's see. You have we will also divide pala. That 6 will be divided by 3. That's equal to 2. Okay. Yeah. This is your new pivot. This is your new pivot row. Okay, let's box that. New pivot row. Okay, and then to determine the entries for the rows, again, we use the formula new rows or row or entry of the new rows will be the current value, again, minus its what's that again? It's pivot column coefficient times the new pivot row coefficient. Okay, new pivot row coefficient. So that will be, let's see, start with the row 0. So let's start with the row 0. Let's do that here. We have the entry here in the row 0. No? We have -3. So that's -3 -3 minus, -3 is the current value. -3 minus its pivot column coefficient, which is also -3, right? Times the new pivot row coefficient, which is 1, corresponding that row. Oh, yeah, that column. New pivot row coefficient corresponding that column is equal to 1. So this is negative 3 plus 3, which will give us 0. Okay, so this is 0. And then you have 0 minus negative 3 times the new pivot row coefficient is 0. So you have 0. So this is 0. And then 0 under S1, okay? 0 minus negative 3 times the new pivot row coefficient is 0. So that's equal to 0, okay? That's equal to 0. And 5 over 2 minus negative 3 times negative times, sana tayo? Under S2, no? Under S2. So, times negative 1/3. Right? So that will become negative 1/3. So that will become 5 over 2 minus negative 3 times negative 1/3 is 1. So 5 over 2 minus 1. 5 over 2 minus 1 is 5 over 2 minus, so that's 5 over 2 minus 1 or 2 over 2. Okay? Which is equal to 3 over 2. So this is 3 over 2. And then 0 minus negative 3 times the corresponding pivot row coefficient is 1/3. So that would be 0 plus 1. Negative, negative is positive, no? So 0 plus 1 is 1. So you have 1 here. This is 3 halves. Okay, 3 halves. And then 30 minus negative 3 times 2. That's 30 plus 6, which is equal to 36. And then the second row will be, so the entry here is 1 minus the pivot column coefficient is 1, right? Times 1 here. Sorry, that's not 0. That's 1. That's your new pivot row coefficient. Okay, so 1 minus 1. 1 is the pivot column coefficient, the same number with the current value, times 1, which is your new pivot row coefficient, and that's equal to 0, right? That's equal to 0. And then next is 0 minus pivot column coefficient is 1 times your new pivot row coefficient is 0. So that's equal to 0. Then next is 1. 1 minus 1 times the new pivot row coefficient, which is 0. So that's equal to 1. And then next is 0. 0 minus 1 times the new pivot row coefficient is negative 1/3. Okay, which is equal to 1/3. And then next is 0. So 0 minus 1 times 1/3 equals negative 1/3. So that's negative 1/3. And then on the right side, you have 4. So this is negative 1/3. And you have 4 minus 1 times 2. Okay, which is equal to uh, 2. Okay, then the third row, let's do it here. We have 0 minus the pivot column coefficient corresponding that is 0 itself. Okay, 0 times the corresponding pivot row coefficient is 1, which is equal to 0, right? And then next is 1 minus the pivot column coefficient, which is 0. Okay, pivot column coefficient, which is 0. Then times the corresponding pivot row coefficient is 0. So you have 1. And then we're almost done. And then we have 0 minus 0 times the new pivot row coefficient is 0. So this is 0. And then next is 1/2. No? 1/2 minus 0 times the new pivot row coefficient is negative 1/3. And that's equal to 1/2. And then 0 minus 0 times 1/3 equal to 0. Okay. And then 6 minus 0 times 2. That's your new pivot row coefficient. And that's equal to 6. Okay. So this is iteration 2. Now, we're going to apply now the optimality test. If the optimality test does not satisfy, then we're going to do the next iteration. According to optimality test, if the entries in the 0th row or row 0 are non-negative, then that means that the optimal solution is obtained, right? And what can we say about this? The optimality test is satisfied because look at your first 0th row, the row 0. All the entries there are non-negative. So we say since, let's use a different color here. So we say that since so since all the entries of the row 0 or the coefficient in row 0 are non-negative, since the coefficients in row 0 are non-negative, What is the implication? The implication is the optimality test is satisfied, right? The optimality test is satisfied and we obtain that or yeah, we obtain that in iteration 2. Now, what is the implication? The implication is we have the optimal solution. And what is the optimal solution? The optimal solution is, look at your basic variable here. You have x1, this x1 here no, is equal to 2. So x1 is equal to 2 and x2 is equal to 6. So those are the values of your decision variables so that the objective function will get the maximum solution or optimal solution. Okay, x1 equals 2 and x2 is equal to 6. Now regarding the value of your objective function, remember your objective function. Your objective function is given by z equals, what's that again? 3x1 plus 5x2. And that's actually represented by this one, right? 3 times 2 is 4 plus, I don't know, 3 times 2 is 6 plus 5 times 6 is equal to 36. So the optimal value or the maximum value is z equals 30, 36. Okay? So this is simplex method. Next video, on the next video, we're going to consider the case where we have minimization problem. Okay? So thank you and uh, good luck as you listen and watch this video. God bless.